Welcome back. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi tackled in his speech to the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly several issues, notably combating terrorism, challenges facing African continent, and the Nile water cause. The head of state stressed that the Nile water is a matter of life and death for Egypt and urged the international community to convince all parties to be flexible and resume negotiations to reach an agreement regarding the Palestinian issue. He asserted that settling ongoing crises is a precondition to create a stable international system, pointing to bold decision needed to give the Palestinians a right. The President noted that the General Assembly convenes amidst many world challenges that need joint efforts to confront them. He also urged her to lift Sudan from the list of countries supporting terrorism and asserted that it is time to adopt a decisive stance in dealing with the crisis in Libya.
In light of Egypt's current chairmanship of the African Union, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held 2 trilateral summits with his African counterparts aimed at resolving problems to normalize bilateral ties between the countries. President al-Sisi asserted the significance of unifying African visions to support the African stance. We have more details in this report.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi participated in a trilateral summit in New York with Djibouti President Ismail Omar Guelleh and Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassem Radi said that the trilateral summit came within the framework of Egypt's presidency with the African Union and the distinguished ties binding Egypt with the two countries. During the meeting, the leaders discussed a number of regional issues of mutual concern and worked to reach convergence of views. The President also took part in the tripartite summit with Somali President Mohamed Abdullah Farmajo and Kenyan President. The summit came at the behest of both countries in the light of Egypt's current chairmanship of the African Union. Radi said that the summit discussed bilateral files between Somalia and Kenya to work on strengthening brotherly and good neighborly relations binding the two countries. The two African leaders reviewed their detailed visions concerning bilateral controversial issues. During the summit, an agreement was reached to form a Kenyan-Somali committee to work immediately on adopting measures for restoring confidence and resolving all problems to normalize bilateral ties.
On the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held a number of meetings with world leaders. More details in the following story.
On the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met his Lebanese counterpart Michel Aoun. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassem Radi said that President al-Sisi expressed his appreciation for the deep bilateral relations binding the two countries. The President wished the Lebanese more success to achieve more secure and stability in the country. The President met as well the Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar in New York. Radi said that the President expressed his appreciation for the deep relations bonding the two nations, asserting Egypt's keenness to strengthen the bilateral ties. The head of state met also the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Radi said that the President hailed the productive dialogue as well as political cooperation concerning the regional files with common concern.
Meanwhile, members of the Egyptian community in New York organized a rally to welcome President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in front of his presidential residence. During the rally, experts expressed their appreciation towards President al-Sisi's speech before the United Nations General Assembly. They stressed their support to the president, the state, and its institutions.
In response to Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's statements in one of the sessions of the United Nations General Assembly current meetings regarding the death of Mohamed Morsi, spokesman of the Foreign Ministry Ahmed Hafez expressed astonishment over Erdogan's claims, which show his hatred for Egypt and its people. He added that it is ridiculous to hear such claims from Erdogan, who offers support for terrorism and commits violations against his own people. The spokesman of the Foreign Ministry said also that the latest statements by the Turkish president reflect a desperate bid to distract people away from his regime's failures and his party's recent losses. Hafez added that there are many facts which afford an evidence of the absurdity of Erdogan's claims about justice, while he has more than 75,000 political and military detainees in his prisons. Dozens of deaths have been reported among the Turkish prisoners due to torture and poor conditions.
The Minister of Defense, First Lieutenant General Mohammad Zaki, met with the commanders, officers and soldiers of the naval forces and the northern military zone. The meeting started with a minute of silence for the souls of the army and police martyrs who sacrificed themselves for the sake of their country. The details.
Minister of Defense First Lieutenant General Mohammad Zaki said on Tuesday that the armed forces will continue to enhance its battle and technical capabilities in accordance with the modern international standards in order to protect the Egyptian national security. The minister's statement came during his meeting with the commanders, officers and soldiers of the naval forces and the northern military zone. The meeting started with a minute of silence for the souls of the army and police martyrs who sacrificed themselves for the sake of the country. The minister delivered President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's appreciations for their efforts to protect the country's northern borders. Zaki stressed that the men of the armed forces are always on high alert and do their utmost in order to maintain the country's security. Meanwhile, leader of naval forces Lieutenant Ahmed Khalid reiterated the maritime forces have strong will and insistence to achieve their duties at high efficiency, and pointed out that the supportive role of the armed forces is boosting the Navy's technical capabilities. Khalid asserted that the naval forces are always keen to confront any attempts of jeopardizing Egypt's national security and stability, and ready to sacrifice their lives for the sake of their country.
Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli inspected El Mahrousa project for developing slums in Salam district in Cairo. During his tour, Madbouli visited El Mahrousa Primary and Preparatory School, where he praised efforts exerted to implement the project, which provided a decent life for every resident of this district. The Prime Minister called on the Cairo governor to upgrade the efficiency of the surrounded area.